Good afternoon. Just set this camera up. Didn't even bother to see what the angle was. I just wanted to do something to see how well it came out. I didn't want to have to research this and spend a lot of time on it. It is basic common sense in my view. What has happened, what we are dealing with. I shouldn't have to research it. I did have to look up the man's name. I knew his last name was Pretti. I didn't know his first name, and I thought I could not possibly make this without at least knowing the man's name. Alex Pretti was murdered for helping a fellow citizen, a fellow American. As a nurse, it would of course be his first instinct when he sees a woman viciously assaulted and thrown to the ground to go to her aid. For trying to help her, he was murdered by the invading army that we have in this country. This is our one if by land, two if by sea moment. We have an invading army distressing, assaulting, killing American citizens. They are just going to become more and more violent the more of this they get away with. I've already heard one of them in a video say, "We're doing pretty good." That's very sick to use their names as a kind of pat on the back as to how they're doing in terms of murdering American citizens. They are just going to go out and viciously murder anybody who's doing anything whatsoever that they can, by the farthest stretch of the imagination, make into a story where they were getting in our way while we were trying to. What did the head of that whole invading army say? That they were endeavoring to commit. I can't think of the word right now. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean. That they were in the process of an arrest. I believe he said that they were arresting that woman, and he impeded them. So they killed him. They murdered him. Their intention was not originally to arrest that woman by just the visuals involved. They just saw somebody that they could easily throw to the ground, and being the cruel and vindictive, weak-minded people that they all are, okay, take her and throw her to the ground. And then when Pretti went to help her, they killed him. Because he was impeding an arrest? No, because as a nurse, it is his first instinct. Go and help those who are suffering. That's what nurses do. So now we've got an invading army who kill us just for being us. Not because we're any danger to them, not because of anything other than the fact that we are us. They can murder, they are cruel, and don't care about American lives, don't care about anything but their own inhumanity and cruelty. And if they see anybody acting, responding the way any compassionate person would, there is someone suffering, I should help. You go to help, you are going to be murdered. That's what this invading army is doing to the American citizens. This is our one if by land, two if by sea moment. We either rise to it or they will slowly kill and or imprison everybody who doesn't behave exactly as they want. There are no more freedoms. There is no more you can say as you want in terms of you see something wrong, you can speak out against it in terms of anything. I mean, a president who continually sues and imprisons and deports people who say things he doesn't like. This is unconscionable. Everything about this administration, and I use the word loosely, this is nothing like what we're used to in terms of the executive branch and their administration going back throughout my life anyways. And as you could tell, I've put in a few years. This administration is not an administration, not in the typical constitutional democratic republic of the United States of America. All of the norms have been broken. The Constitution has been discarded. It is no more. They don't follow it. Everything that they're doing, okay, maybe that's beyond the pale. Almost everything that they're doing is bad and wrong and or illegal. Trump, as the executor in this country, does not have the responsibility to impose tariffs. That's Congress. Trump does not have the responsibility to use the military to go and attack other countries. That is Congress. And what he's doing and the precedents that he's using do not go back that far. I don't think they go back beyond Vietnam, which was just supposed to be, I can't remember what term they used to describe it, but they never used the term war because they never declared war, because that is something that only Congress can do. So it was a police action, something like that. Originally, and I'm starting to digress now, but originally we were just supposed to send training and consulting, military training and consulting to the South Vietnamese so they could fight the North Vietnamese. It quickly escalated beyond that. But the point here is Congress is the only branch of the federal government that is supposed to be allowed to say the military needs to go over there and do this thing because, and then they have to justify it, whether it's war, however they want to define it. I think where Congress is concerned, it's always just been war. They don't play word games like presidents have, but this is where we are at. And this is a large part of what we have to deal with because we have allowed the president to take more and more and more power, both Republicans and Democrats alike. Congress has abrogated their responsibility to their branch of government by continually handing more power over to the president. We, as the people, have done nothing to stop them by just vote every single one of them out every time they allow the president to take any more power. There are supposed to be 3 separate branches, separate but equal. This is not what we have anymore by a long shot. It has become so skewed, so corrupt. But getting back to this, what we're dealing with right now, because of the weakness of Congress and because of the acquiescence of the judicial branch, the executive regime that we have can just run rampant over any law they think gets in their way, over any institution, over any company, over any individual they think gets in their way. They are now in a position where they can just execute us, and there's nothing anybody in the federal government is going to do about it except say, you really shouldn't do that. That's where we, the people, are at. The government no longer represents us. It is not technically even the government of the United States of America anymore. They have thrown the Constitution away. They have abrogated all their responsibilities to any standard, any ideal. They're just doing whatever they think is best in the moment, either to preserve their little portion of power or to gain more in the executive branch. And here's where we're at. They think that they can just willy-nilly kill us one by one, and they are. They don't just think it, they think it, and they're doing it. We have an invading army in our midst, ransacking our citizens, ransacking our cities, killing our citizens, and this is where we're at. It is our one if by land, two if by sea moment. If we do not rise to this occasion, we are going to see a country that is more corrupt, that is more broke, given the way we are going economically, more miserable, and less able to fight back in the future than any we have ever seen in the past, given the enormous amount of power they have already and how much more they can glean as they're just shoveling in as much money from this country as they possibly can into the pockets of the few, the elite. The nepotism that's going on in the White House, just a handful of people in this nation of 330 million who now have so much money and so much power that it is just going to expand exponentially if we don't cut it off. And we need to start by not letting the executive branch and their invading army of cruel and inhumane, wretched souls just ransack our cities and kill our citizens. This is our one if by land, two if by sea moment. Or you're going to see every nurse in this country who steps out to help somebody in the streets who is suffering get killed. Pretty good. That's what they're saying. They're proud of themselves. They think it's pretty good what they're doing. They are sick. They are demented. And they are coming for you. If they can do it to them, they can do it to us. And they will. Thank you for watching.